Hi, I'm Pastor Kurt, and this is your 5-minute Bible study. Today, we're going to be looking at Mark chapter 6, verses 14 through 29. This is the story of the death of John the Baptist. Now, this story is unique because it is the only flashback that we get in the Gospels. Normally, when we think about reading the Gospels, it's sequential, one event happening after another. But earlier in the Gospel of Mark, we heard that John died, but we weren't told how or why or for what reason. Now, in chapter 6, we finally get that story. This is the only flashback that we get in the Gospels. Now, why do we get this flashback to begin with? Well, Herod has been hearing about what Jesus has been doing. And that news to him sounds a lot like what John the Baptist was doing earlier. And so he thinks, well, maybe John has been raised. Been raised? Does that mean he's dead? Oh, yes, he is. So the gospel writer then tells us this backstory. The story goes that John had been arrested for speaking out against Herod's marriage because he had married his brother's wife, which was a big no-no, right? You don't do that. She's his brother's wife, not his wife. Well, Herod kind of thinks he can do whatever he wants. So John spoke up about that, got into trouble, and got himself arrested, thrown in prison. Well, Herod has a big old birthday party for himself. He invites all of his friends, all of these powerful, important people. And at one point during the party, his daughter dances for them. Now, we aren't told what kind of dance she does. And maybe you can use your imagination or read between the lines or guess. But she dances in such a way that Herod, at the end of her dance, tells her that he is so pleased with what she has done that he is willing to give her whatever she wants, up to half his kingdom. Well, the girl has no idea what to ask for, so she goes to her mother. Remember the wife of Herod's brother, whom he just married, and asks her, okay, what should I ask for? Well, her mom is also upset that John spoke out against this marriage. So she sees the opportunity to call for John's head. She wants Herod to kill John. Now, one detail we need to notice is that even though John's in prison, Herod liked to listen to John. So you can imagine John being locked up in prison, and then Herod every now and then sneaking down to the prison to talk with John and listen to him. He doesn't want anybody to know that he likes listening to John, but he does. And so when he hears this request to kill John, he's stuck. On the one hand, he likes to listen to John and he doesn't want to kill him. But on the other hand, he just made this promise. And he's got to keep his promise. He basically trapped himself in a corner here. So he orders John's execution, and John's head is brought out on a silver platter. He gives it to the girl gives it to her mother. By thinking that Herod liked to listen to John, this puts Herod in a tricky position. And sometimes we forget that about this scene. Sometimes we just think about the daughter asking the mother for John's head, and then Herod orders the execution and doesn't think twice about it. He does think twice about it. Herod knows he has to fulfill his promise, but he doesn't really want to. But he does. Think about if you have ever been in a position where you've, given up on your convictions? Or you've done something that internally you know you really shouldn't do, or you didn't really want to do because you knew it wasn't right? That's where Herod was. Maybe you don't know that experience. Maybe you've never been put in that position. If so, great. But if you have, know that that's where Herod was. But where's the good news in all of this? Remember, Jesus is teaching and talking to people and healing people in such a way that Herod thinks John has come back to life. Jesus continues to do his ministry. Jesus continues to bring new life, even in the midst of horrible things happening like what happened at Herod's party. Also, we need to pair Herod's party with the very next story that comes after it, which is the feeding of the 5,000, which I'll get to in the next video. So for now, that's your 5-minute Bible study. Please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.